obviously you had a stretch there in the fourth quarter where you really got it going, but felt like a lot of things were hard to that point. What were they doing? Anything different than what you saw in the first game?
No, I mean, this is who they are defensively. They got a lot of different guys who can guard the ball, fly around. They're really physical, force the officials to, let us play a little bit more. So just got to do a better job playing through there. I think I've had two really poor first halves. So, I just got to figure out how to be better earlier in games. Kudos to them. They're a great defensive team, but, watch the film, see where I can get better.
Left on the front row.
Zach Oster with the Indianapolis Star, kind of in that same vein, but Coach called your offense an ecosystem where, the more one guy succeeds, the more everybody succeeds. What have they done to disrupt that when they've had success, slowing you guys down offensively these first two games?
Yeah, I think we just got to do a better job getting to the paint. It's a lot easier said than done, but, I feel like in the first half we were just moving the ball on the outside, and we I don't think we had a single point in the paint in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So, our offense is built from the inside out. We got to do a better job getting downhill. They collapse and then, make plays from there. But, thought we could improve a lot there. But, yeah, man, they're flying around. They got great point of attack defenders. They got great rim protectors. It's a great defense. So we can do a lot better job and, we'll watch the film and see if we can get better, going into game 3.
Okay, go all the way to the left, Tim.
Tyrese, for as frustrating as I'm sure tonight feels like right now for you guys, you are leaving here with a split.
Yep.
That has to mean something to you guys. I know it's not a console, it doesn't take tonight away, but you came in here and did what you had to do. You took home court. How much nicer will that make things when you get back home and figure out how to attack Wednesday?
Yeah, I think anytime you're the lower seed in a playoff series, your job is to go split or go try to get one on the road. We got game 1. Felt like we really let the rope slip, there in the second quarter. So I think you can. There's many different ways that you can choose to digest, what's in front of you. But yeah, I think we focus on taking it a day at a time. So you got the split, you feel good about that. But we definitely wanted to play better tonight. I think our processes need to be a lot better for us to be successful here. So it's still a race in the first to 4. So we're going to our home court. Tied 1-1, and we love playing at home. Love playing in front of our fans. Our fans are amazing. So just see where we can get better, and take it a day at a time.
Just kind of what things do you think you can do better to sort of establish your pace from the get-go better?
Physicality is a big part of the series. I think that we got to establish ourselves physically, just as they've done. See what's going to get called, see what's not going to get called, and see how the overall tone of the game is going. And it's got to be a much better collective effort, I think, defensively. I think we did a little bit of a better job in that first half, but it's got to be 4 quarters of sustained defense.
Second row, David.
This is the lack of activity on defense then translate to not getting out and doing the things you guys normally do offensively?
Yeah, of course. If you force them to a miss, you grab the ball, get out in transition, and play our best basketball. But if we're having to take the ball out every single time or fouls, it slows down our offense, obviously. So, just finding more and more ways to mix it up defensively.
Y'all have seen every defense in the world against Ty, so I know that this is not new. It's just maybe being done a little bit better. But how do you make them pay if they're going to commit so much ball movement and man movement to trying to keep him out the paint?
I think with Tyrese, there's plenty of formulas to get him going. I don't think that we executed, well enough. There's things that we went over in our game plan that I don't think we executed well enough today. So we'll get him in the paint, and I think that we've been one of the better teams going to the paint, all year, and we have to establish that early. I think we only had 4 or 6 points in the paint in the first half, and it's not Pacers basketball. It's when you live and die by that 3, or mid-range shots, it doesn't always fare well for you.
Just where did you feel like the game got away from you tonight?
Yeah, I thought, it was pretty close in the beginning. I think just a lot of unanswered buckets, maybe some key turnovers that we can take away. But yeah, they did a good job being disruptive, and they got out in transition. and yeah, they made some tough shots. I mean, they got guys that contributed, you know, across the board. You know, they got off the bench. Guys made some big shots. They got rebounds. You know, yeah, they just did a little bit of the little things that like more than we did.
Front row all the way to the left.
Pascal, Tim Reynolds with the AP. I know you guys are obviously disappointed with the way this one went. Is there going to be any consolation that you did get a split here, that it is home court now for you guys? How much does that soften the blow, if at all, of this one?
I don't think it's consolation. I mean, I think you want to win every game you play. So we not happy with how the game went today, and that's it. We just gotta turn the page, focus on game 3. That's the biggest game of the year. We just gotta go out there, back home. Our fans, obviously, I know they're super excited to have us, and we're excited to be back. You know, our home arena with our home fans, and just ready to compete, play hard, and yeah. So that's our focus. You know, we gotta, as hard as this one is, we just gotta move on to the next.
Front row.
Zach Osterman, Indianapolis Star. Coach described your offense as an ecosystem that just kind of feeds everybody, maybe not, if not equally, then a lot of different players kind of contribute at once. What was Oklahoma City doing to disrupt that tonight, to just kind of break maybe you guys from finding, especially that shooting rhythm that you had in the second half on Thursday night?
Oh yeah, they were super aggressive. Just yeah, like which is what they do. You know, they're disruptive kind of team. So I think, you know, we got to watch the film and just find ways to, no matter what, still be us. So we got to figure it out. I don't have the answers right now, but yeah, we got to watch it and find a way to again get to the paint or spray out for threes, like whatever our game is. And, you know, we got to find a way to do that.
Another bad first half. Obviously, it was a big problem, and we just played poorly. A little better in the second half, but you can't be a team that's reactive and expect to be successful or have consistency. So we're gonna have to feel a lot better on Wednesday.
All right, first question here.
Hey Coach, Leandro Saha from ESPN Brazil. After not going with the two bigs in the first game, they played a big stretch with that of the game with the Hartenstein and Holmgren. Do you feel like this had a big impact on the result tonight?
I don't know if there was any lineup that they used that wasn't impactful for them.
Over here on the left.
Yeah, Zach Osterman, Indianapolis Star. I guess just asking about Tyrese. He kind of struggled to get engaged with the game the first couple quarters. He does kind of find it there in the fourth quarter. Does anything change from him, from your perspective, in terms of just kind of being able to get a little bit more engaged and see some of those shots fall?
Well, there's a lot more to the game than just scoring. So everybody's got to do more. Starts with the best players. Starts with, you know, Tyrese and Pascal and Miles, who will be in here to talk to you guys, and then it goes from there. And so, you know, people shouldn't just look at his points and assists and judge how he played, or judge how any of our guys played just on that. That's not how our team is built. I mean, we're an ecosystem that has to function together, and you know, stats. You know, we got to score enough points to win the game. But who gets them and how they get them, not important.
First row here.
Just 34 points in the paint in both of these games. You guys talk about being a paint to great team. What are the Thunder doing so well to keep you guys from playing the way that you want in there?
Well, they were the best in the league during the year at keeping people out of there, and so they're great at it. We've got to find ways to get the ball in there, and you know, it's just. There are so many things that have to go right on a set of two possessions to get the ball into the heart of their defense. You know, you've got to get a stop, a rebound. You've got to be able to get the ball at the floor without a turnover, and then you've got to be able to get it into the lane and to the rim. And it's a tough task. So, you know, we'll look at it. There were some stretches where we did some good things attacking the paint, but there weren't enough.
Hey folks, Zach Osterman here, Indianapolis Star, Justin Martinez, the Oklahoman, talking about Oklahoma City 123, that'd be a remarkable game, 123, Indiana 107, the Thunder even this series up. Justin, I think the first thing that really jumped out to me about this game, you could see in the first quarter, I thought, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander making a conscious effort to pass up his own offense to get teammates involved, and that really pays off because the supporting cast around him was much more productive deeper into the game tonight, and it just kept the Pacers at arm's length all night.
Yeah, and that was a big storyline entering this series. These are two teams that definitely have options off the bench, two very deep groups. It was going to be a matter of which guys actually were able to show up and sustain that, as you mentioned. Today, it was definitely OKC. Caruso, 20 points off the bench. Aaron Wiggins has had really consistent minutes this playoffs as the rotation has shortened. Had 18 this time around, so definitely I think the depth was really a big factor in this one.
I thought you also saw that the other thing we came away from game one talking about was it didn't seem like the Thunder wanted to go big too much against Indiana. They didn't go crazy with it tonight, but they were willing to go to some of those bigger lineups, and you felt like they worked well enough for Oklahoma City to stay in control of the game and basically just sort of never really let the Pacers turn up the pace. Forgive the pun, but those smaller lineups let Indiana play faster in the second half of game one. It felt like Oklahoma City made Indiana stay where OKC wanted lineup-wise to a certain extent and certainly pace-wise to be tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely when it comes to the first game of a series, it's a feeling out process. You know, you're experimenting with things. That was Casey Wallace's first playoff start in his career in game one. So to bring out some more size this time around, Chet Holmgren I thought was way more assertive. Only had 6 points, 6 rebounds in game one. This time around, I thought really did kind of play a bigger role this time around. The size Isaiah Hardenstein as well had a nice impact off the bench, still coming off the bench for them. So yeah, there's going to be things that you tweak and change. It's going to be a long series, but I think they did find some success in that area.
The other thing you have to talk about from an Indiana perspective is Tyrese Haliburton. He found some offense late, but I think he had a stretch of basically 2 full quarters without making a shot of any kind. He hit an early 3, and you thought maybe he'd find a little bit of that rhythm that he struggled to find at times in game one, but Oklahoma City just really took him out of it. Now, if you're Indiana, I think there are maybe some things you feel like you can build on, where he started to find that offense late third, early fourth quarter. But Indiana obviously can't survive in this series without him going back up to that level that we saw against Cleveland, that we saw against New York.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something that OKC does really well. You've seen it, different players, but Nikola Jokic, they were able to swarm him, wear him down. Anthony Edwards as well in the conference finals. Tyrese Haliburton, like I said, a different player, but still, the method is still the same in the sense that you are trying to bring a bunch of different bodies, get him uncomfortable, and obviously he is a very capable player of snapping out of that, but tonight you can see that it did have an impact on him.
The last thing as this series shifts back to Indianapolis is you felt like, I think, you saw kind of the terms of this series set, how both of these teams win this series. The Pacers, again, forgive me for the pun, but with pace, with that sort of that veteran nous of knowing how to stay in a game long enough to build a comeback, obviously weaponizing the three-point line the way they did in game one. In game two, Oklahoma City, it's defense, as you talk about, the contributors that can pull off of that bench, and then, of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It feels like we have kind of sort of set the path that each of these teams can take to winning this series, and now the one variable left is shifting it back to Indianapolis.
Yeah, without a doubt, that's going to be big. Indianapolis is taking care of business at home, a more than capable team, and it's going to be not nearly as friendly of an environment for OKC in Indy, without a doubt. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure.
Justin Martinez from the Oklahoman, Zach Oster from the Indianapolis Star. Thank you so much for watching here from Oklahoma City. We'll be in Indianapolis for Game 3 Wednesday night.